You can close the eyes and find a nice, comfortable, naturally relaxing sitting posture. Keeping the spine upright. So our intention is to maintain a good spinal posture, tall and vertical spine. Feel the elongation, pull the neck up, tailbone down. Keep the head, neck, trunk all in alignment. The intention is to maintain the alignment vertical, but that it should not cause any kind of discomfort or strain. If you need to, just make any adjustments to the position. So you're very comfortable. Allow the hands to rest very nicely on your knees, your thighs, your lap, wherever they are positioned. Very relaxed hands. Just lift the shoulders up toward the ears, roll them back, and then let them hang loose. A few gentle neck movements, okay, like yes and no movements, up and down, side to side. Half circle, small circle, full circle, or any other movement that should help you become aware of the neck muscles and loosen them up. And finally, we'll let the head rest back in the center now. Neck should feel comfortable. Soften the facial muscles. Jaws are relaxed. And begin to watch your breath now. As you inhale and exhale, observe the flow at the tip of the nose. Just watching the flow and becoming aware of the sensation that the flow of breath creates in the nostrils. Subtle cooling sensation when you inhale, warmth when you exhale. Maintaining the natural, regular rhythm of breathing, no change, just watching the flow. Recite Om 3 times, take a deep inhalation. Softly open the eyes. Stay and welcome everyone. Welcome to day number day number 10 of our journey explore our inner universe. Our eye exercise, sideways vision today, the peripheral vision. So stretch the right arm in front first, and we're going to make a fist, thumb pointing up, and we're going to fix the gaze at the thumb. What we're going to try to do is to move the arm to the right sides, but make sure your head is not moving. So keep the head perfectly in the center. Inhale, move the arm to the right. Now through the corner of the eyes, you're watching the flow, the movement of the thumb. No head movement. Make sure it doesn't move. And as you exhale, bring the arm straight out in front. So you're constantly looking at the thumb through the corner of the eyes without turning the head. As far as you can bring the thumb without turning the neck. Keep going. Inhale, stretch it out to the side. Exhale, bring it back in front. Exercising the muscles of the eyes, which are engaged in the sideways or peripheral vision, as it's called. Bring the arm back out in front the next time. Pause there briefly. Keep gazing at the thumb for a brief moment. And then release the hands. Blink the eyes rapidly a few times now. Then close the eyes. Just relax for a breath or two. Open the eyes. Other arm now. Straight out in front, thumb pointing up. As you inhale, bring the arm to the side. Through the corner of the eyes, constantly watching the flow, the movement of thumb. And as you exhale, bring it out in front. Sideways vision, the muscles that are engaged in side vision. Those are the muscles we are exercising. And next time you bring the arm back out in front, keep the arm there for a brief moment, keep gazing at the thumb, and then finally release. Blink the eyes rapidly one more time. Close the eyes. Let's rub the palms briskly. Cover the eyes softly, making a cup over the eyes to relax the eyes. Gently rub the eyelids, eyebrows. Massage around the eyes, forehead, sides of the eyes, cheeks, neck and the throat area. Release the hands. And once again, softly open the eyes now. So let's see what we want to work on this, which sutra we want to work on. We yesterday we talked about the Gita, I think, right? We didn't do the sutras yesterday, but the other day, previous day we did. We were talking about the Abhyas and Vairagya. Does everyone recall that? Right? Abhyas and Vairagya. So we'll just complete that discussion. Let me bring that slide up and then I can share that with you. Okay. And okay, so this is the second part of that abhyasa, and where abhyasa is practice, and we said from Patanjali's perspective, practice all it means is meditation, basically. So that's his main goal is to make the mind calm, and in his approach, meditation is the key practice that we want to develop, and that's why he says constant, uh, uninterrupted, long time, and done with a sense of devotion. That's what we said, right? Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Sevitaha. Those are the three Sanskrit phrases he used to define Abhyasa. And what's Vairagya now? Vairagya, the word comes from Raga. Raga means color or attachment to something, and Vairagya means no attachment. Okay, dispassion as it's called. Okay, so the Sanskrit phrase is Drishtanusravika Vishaya Vitrishnasya Vashikara Sangya Vairagyam. Right? So the way you have to look at it is it says detachment or vairagya is the consciousness of perfect mastery. In one, so someone who has completely ceased to crave for objects, seen. I mean, the word seen is always used in our ancient literature to mean all the five senses. They will say drishta. Drishta literally means seen. And when you say seen, you would assume it's all just the eyes only. But drishta in all our literature would mean all the five senses. Okay, experienced through the senses or heard about through scriptures. So drishta or anushravika. Anushravika means which is something that you hear or you read from the scriptures, basically. So what's vairagyam then? It is total detachment to any attraction that we might have to objects that we perceive through the five senses. Seen, heard, food, music, it doesn't matter what it is. People, we also perceive things through our mind, wealth, position, whatever, the idea, right? Possessions and everything. So that's the level of attachment. But then it goes on to add one more. It says anushravika. Now, anushravika, the most commentators have translated as meaning that in our ancient texts called the Vedas, they have these rituals that you perform, and they gave a large number of rituals. And then, of course, rituals that you perform to get maybe a son or a daughter, or rituals to get 1,000 cows, rituals to get good crop. All these things are mentioned. But then they add on these rituals which will allow you to get to heaven once you're done with this whole life. Okay. But what it's saying is that look, guys, even those are attachments. If you're attached to going to heaven, because heaven in the culture that we are in that's depicted in our Yoga Sutras or in our other ancient texts, heaven is just a very temporary abode. It's not something that you attain permanently. Permanent is pure liberation. Okay, there's nothing like staying in heaven permanently. That's only a temporary thing. Based on your good deeds, you might stay there, have some good time, and come back. You have to come back to this human birth for liberation. Okay, that's the main message in our text. Liberation can only happen in this human life. That's it. No, no heaven or hell or anything. Okay, so this he says is the lower level of vairagyam, lower level of detachment, and then he talks about this higher level, which basically all it's saying is now look, you have detached yourself from the five senses or from your possessions and all that, but the main theme is these gunas that we talked about, the sattva, rajas, and tamas. Okay, sattva is purity, rajas is action, tamas is dullness, sleepiness, negative stuff. These are the gunas that keep functioning in our mind and make us do things that we do, like negative, positive, whatever. But we have to go beyond the influence of these gunas completely. The word used in most texts is gunatita. Atit means past, beyond, transcending the influence of the gunas, and that's what it is talking about. Okay, once you attain that level of vairagyam, you are liberated. That's it. No more bondage. All right. Just want to do a little brief discussion on this. Again, any thoughts or comments on this one?
What are the sutra numbers for this? What are the Yoga Sutra numbers for Abhyasa and Vairagya definition?
It's starting with 14 is the Abhyasa, then 15 and 16 are Vairagya. 15 is the lower level, they call it the lower level of Vairagya, where you detach yourself from the five senses, and higher level is Gunatit. Go past the or transcend the gunas. That's number 16. All right. Okay, so let's get ready for some stretching. Let's come up on your hands and knees. Gentle stretch, we do this every time, but it's a good stretch for the spine. So hand under the shoulders, knees under the hips, spread the fingers wide as you inhale, head up, tailbone up, dip the navel down. So when you dip the navel down, you create a little arch in the spine, a dip in the spine. Exhale, round the spine. Lift the navel up, creating a little hump in the spine. Chin down, tailbone down. Tuck it in. Couple more breaths like this. Finish the next cycle, complete the exhalation. Spine back to the neutral position, and then we'll sit back up on the heels in Vajrasana or Kapalabhati. Ready for Kapalabhati. 75. That's the speed we have been keeping. Stay with that for our sessions. And apply the bandhas at the end. Everyone should know the bandhas by now. If you have doubts, please ask. That's important. Final sequence where you will exhale forcefully and completely. When there's no more air in the lungs, apply the bandhas where you are able to hold the breath. Kumbhaka, Bahya Kumbhaka. Finish the sequence and then let's get back to your natural rhythm of breathing. To a standing position for Surya Namaskar, and we'll again do today the same set of mantras that we've been doing. So with the mantra recitation, these mantras are done nicely and it brings the whole practice into a meditative practice, basically. That's what we have been working on. Okay. Come up to a standing position. Round number one. Hold on a second. Get ready first. Come to standing position with the feet close to the top of the mat. And we'll get started. Remember, in the first round, I'll guide you through the breathing, and then the next 3 rounds will just continue. So remember, the key factors are the breathing should be appropriate when you inhale, when you stretch the abdomen, inhale, when you compress the abdomen, exhale, but slow, deep, ujjayi breaths. It's a pranayama, all right? And then as far as the mantras are concerned, you just stay tuned to the rhythm and the vibration of the mantras and go into a state of meditation while you're doing this practice, okay? Close the eyes if you feel comfortable with the whole sequence and just enjoy the practice. All right. Round number one. Exhale.
Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha.
Exhale.
Om Suryaya Namaha.
Inhale.
Om Bhanave Namaha.
Exhale.
Om Khagaya Namaha.
Inhale and exhale.
Om Pushne Namaha.
Inhale.
Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha.
Exhale.
Om Marichaye Namaha.
Inhale.
Om Adityaya Namaha.
Exhale.
Om Savitre Namaha.
Inhale.
Om Arkaya Namaha.
Exhale.
Om Bhaskaraya Namaha.
Couple of natural breaths.
Om Shri Savitra Surya Narayanaya Namaha.
And release the hands now. Round number two. Continue.
Om Mitraya Namaha. Om Ravaye Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Bhanave हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः ॐ मरीचये नमः ॐ आदित्याय नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ अर्काय नमः ॐ भास्कराय नमः ॐ श्री सवित्रसूर्यनारायणाय नमः
Round number 3.
ॐ मित्राय नमः ॐ रवये नमः ॐ सूर्याय नमः ॐ भानवे नमः ॐ खगाय नमः ॐ पूष्णे नमः ॐ हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः ॐ मरीचये नमः ॐ आदित्याय नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ अर्काय नमः ॐ भास्कराय नमः ॐ श्री सवित्रसूर्यनारायणाय नमः
Round number 4.
ॐ मित्राय नमः ॐ रवये नमः ॐ सूर्याय नमः ॐ भानवे नमः ॐ खगाय नमः ॐ पूष्णे नमः ॐ हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः ॐ मरीचये नमः ॐ आदित्याय नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ अर्काय नमः ॐ भास्कराय नमः ॐ श्री सवित्रसूर्यनारायणाय नमः
Sit down, comfortable now. Close the eyes for a moment and just mentally stay tuned to the sound, the rhythm and the vibration of these mantras that you might still be hearing in your mind. You open the eyes now. So what we'd like to talk about today is what kind of changes we can expect to happen in these different stages of meditation. When we meditate, what kind of changes we can expect to see in our practice. All right. So remember, one of the things that I mentioned, I think in an earlier session, is about using these three attributes of the mantra: Shabda, Artha, and Jnana. Does everyone remember that roughly? Shabda is the sound or the word itself. Artha is the essential meaning, the essence of what you're meditating on or your object of meditation. And that's the most important for us. Shabda is not as important. Okay? The word is not as important. But what's important is what's the essence of that Shabda, of that word. And of course, then the third was Jnana, which is the total kind of peripheral knowledge about that object that you have in mind, that you already have in your storehouse of memories, your hard disk, so to say, all that stuff. So that's the basic guideline that Patanjali has given in terms of staying focused or staying within the purview of your guided of the mantra that you're using as your guiding sound or the vibration. All right. Now, what happens is, when you start meditating, thoughts come in, right? Of course, Patanjali knows that. He's not saying that it will not happen. It will happen. Okay. Now, what he says is, there are a few different transformations that you can expect, like I said, and this is all discussed in chapter 3 of the sutras. Okay. And I'm not going to go through the sutras, but just kind of give you an overview of what he's talking about. All right. So what he's saying is that, look, in the beginning, the thoughts that will occupy your mind are the thoughts that you are associating with your daily mundane life. All right. So those thoughts will be what? Basically anything that you are associated with in your daily life. It could be related to your work, it could be related to your family, it could be related to what shopping you're doing, it could be related to any plans that you have. But day-to-day activities is what is going to occupy your mind in the beginning. All right. So the whole idea in our practice is to recognize the thoughts. As I mentioned, you cannot fight with the mind. Remember, we are recognizing that thoughts will come in, so we have to be friendly with the mind. All right. Anytime you become antagonistic to your mind, the mind is more powerful because it's driven by the ego. That's very powerful, and it can throw your meditation away completely. You'll never get out of that. So be friendly with the mind. Just kind of, trying to tell the mind, hey, buddy. You can almost use the word buddy. Hey, buddy, look, for the next 20, 30, 25 minutes, can we keep away these thoughts, at least for some time? Okay, we'll take care of it. If I'm hungry, that thought will come. Hey, look, I'm hungry. All right, but can we put that away just for these 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll go back to cooking and whatever you want to do. So the word that Patanjali uses in Sanskrit for this day-to-day mundane kind of thoughts is, he calls it sarvarthata. Sarvarthata. Sarva means all, and artha means, as your attractions, basically. What's the purpose of your thinking? So sarvarthata means totally scattered kind of a mind, which is thinking of everything that's going on currently in your life. Okay? And then he says, when you sit for meditation, there will be moments where you will feel that mind is able to stay focused, at least for some duration of time, maybe a short duration. And the word that he uses is ekagrata. So what he's saying is that, look, when you're focused on your mantra and you're trying to stay within the purview of these three attributes of the mantra, the thoughts will come in, and then you will have moments of one pointedness. The word ekagrata means a single pointedness. That means you will be able to stay focused on your mantra for some duration of time and then go back to your distracted mind. Okay, so that's going to happen, right? So he calls that whole thing concept of transformation that goes back and forth between scattered mind and a single pointed focus. He calls that samadhi parinama. That's the word he uses. Parinama means transformation, change. So he gives that the change, the name of the practice or the state of that change is called samadhi parinama. Now, there will be moments, he says, when you are able to deepen your. Now, we're continuing our practices, right? It's happening every day, and slowly our mind is getting a little more training, and it learns to stay focused for some time. It's all training, right? It's learning. We're training our mind. And then there will be moments when two instances of time, you will still be able to stay focused. So the whole transformation is having between ekagrata to another instant of ekagrata. Okay, so he calls that ekagrata parinam. Ekagrata means one pointedness. Remember the words, I'm using Sanskrit words because that's what Patanjali is using. Okay, what that means is one pointedness. So you will be transitioning from one moment of one pointedness to another moment of one pointedness without any other thoughts creeping in your mind. That may not happen today or tomorrow, okay? But these are the things that you will start experiencing when your state of meditation gets deeper. So he calls that the transformation related to one pointedness. Okay. And then what happens is, we have somewhat been able to diminish our sarvarthata. Like I said, sarvarthata is all distracted mind, focusing on the mundane kind of thoughts. And we have been able to subdue those thoughts, let's say. But remember, we have a storehouse of memories deep inside our subconscious. Deep inside our subconscious. It is full of memories from the past, all kinds of impressions, likes and dislikes, love and hate, kind of things. Everything is stored in our mind. We act predominantly based on what is stored in our mind, right? Because almost like, these days we have computer programs. It's almost like a computer program. You hit a key and something happens based on the computer program. Okay, you hit a combination of keys, something else happens. It's very similar. We have a trigger, we experience something, and it's going to bring up a programmed response. It's a reaction, basically. It's what we call in normal language, we call it knee-jerk reaction, right? Knee-jerk reaction, because any trigger will bring about a very fixed, pre-programmed response. Somebody cuts you across in a driving situation, across the lane, somebody cuts you across, and your knee-jerk reaction, oh, you son of so-and-so. That's your knee-jerk reaction, right? That happens all the time. Somebody says something and you react suddenly, that way. Now, this whole idea of pulling stuff from the memory and then it's always going to be going outwards, and so we have samskaras and vasanas, those two terms I have used. Samskaras is the impressions, which will dictate whether it's good or bad, like or dislike, love or hate. And then the desires associated with our memories, it's called vasana, all right? All these things are coming up, going outward. They are telling the mind, hey, let me go and buy something. Hey, let me go and taste this food. Or let me go and plan a vacation because this is what I liked last time, we'll do it. Things like that. So the word that Patanjali uses for stuff that comes out based on our past impressions and going outwards, he calls it vyutthana. That's the word he uses. Vyutthana, V utthana. Utthana means to bring stuff up. Okay. So bring stuff up from where? From our past impressions, past memories. Okay, but then since our meditation is now getting deeper and deeper, we are able to suppress those thoughts, okay, and get into a state of nothingness. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is an experience that we may not have anytime soon. Occasionally we will have that. There will be brief, very, very brief moments, then we might have that experience. Those are like what they say, the aha moments, You have those moments and you love those moments. They're so beautiful. So, I mean, it's a beautiful trance-like state. So from Vyutthana, this happens because we are past that state of Sarvarthata. Remember, Sarvarthata was total dissipated mind, focusing on mundane things. If we are able to control that, then we are working on those samskaras that are coming up from past memories, and they are cluttering our mind. But if we are able to control those, that time he says we are in the state of Nirodha. Then you don't even need your mantra at that point, because your mantra will also kind of dissolve away, and you're able to get into these brief moments, which he calls Nirodha. Nirodha is total cessation of any thought, including your mantra. That's pure nothingness, basically. Those are the things he talks about. Whether we'll get there or not, hey, we'll give it a try. All right, we have to start somewhere, right? But that's what we are doing here, learning how to meditate, getting a good start, and then establishing a practice, practicing every day, uninterrupted. That's the guideline. Abhyasa means no interruption, no breaks, long time. Longer the time, you might transfer from these states. Now, what I've shown here on the picture that you are not able to see, but it's a picture that I've depicted. It's not it's one of my friends actually has made this picture for me. Okay. So the first one is Samadhi Parinama, where the mind is distracted quite a bit. The vertical line shows, you can come and look at it here quickly. All right, it's a very nice pictorial representation of the three stages of the mind. So this large vibration, the fluctuation that we're seeing, is the mind's fluctuations, basically. And it goes back and forth between Sarvarthata and Ekagrata, scattered mind and one-pointedness. I've mentioned it here. And this is given in the Sutra 3.11, chapter 3, Sutra 11. All right. Then it goes on to say 3.12, and then he says the same content in mind from one moment to the next. It's called Ekagrata, one-pointedness. All right. That time the mind is a little more stable. As you can see, the fluctuations are now getting a little bit smaller. Okay. These sinusoidal waves are fluctuations of the mind. And then finally, from Vyutthana, outward samskaras, to Nirodha, total cessation of vrittis. So this is the state that we are really interested in. It's called Nirodha Parinama, and that's talked about in 3.9. Once we are able to sustain this state, okay, then we are in the final state of samadhi called the nirbija, or seedless samadhi. Seed here refers to the mantra, first of all, and any thoughts that might come up, that also becomes a seed. Some stuff that comes out from the memory. All right. So at this point, when we are in a seedless state, no more thoughts, it's blank, nothingness. Okay, and that's what leads to the state of kaivalya, total freedom, total liberation. All right, so that's our goal. All right, just wanted to share that with you. So chapter 3 in our Yoga Sutras talks about these different stages of transformation that we can expect to experience as our meditation develops and then goes deeper and deeper. That makes sense, everyone? All right, let me stop this share. Any thoughts or questions on this one, on this whole process of meditation, this sequence of transformations?
Subhash, it's
Yes,
Gail here. So
yes.
is this all within samadhi, or is it like going between dhyana and samadhi, or I'm not sure where it
It's
is?
all going all over the. This is going to be going all over the these, you can say, the sequence. Dhyana, samadhi, even sometimes you may have to go back to dharana also on the mantra itself. So
Okay,
this is
thanks.
the full spectrum. We will go back and forth between the full spectrum of these experiences, including dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, right? Because when we chant in the mantra, that's dhyana basically, right? And then there are moments when the mind will be able to stay focused on just the essence of the meaning. Okay, so remember the definition of samadhi was that when we have this continuous flow of thoughts, which was defined as meditation, pratyaya ektanata, at that time, if you are now able to get into a state where we are not, we are not focusing on the shabda or the jnana. Remember, the first word was shabda, the sound or the word itself. You can transcend that. Then the jnana, we are also able to eliminate some of those other peripheral sources of knowledge that we had around that object. If you are able to focus only on the object itself, that's called samadhi. But then he says you're going back and forth. That's what he's saying. So you're back and forth between dhyana, the samadhi, even dharana sometimes. Who knows? Okay. So it's a continuous iterative process, you can say. Does that make sense, Gail?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
So, Subhashi, would you say that creation itself is flawed in some way because we have been and
I have
put into
look,
this
this
state
creation.
so that we can never achieve? It's like several lifetimes, and every lifetime you blank out literally unless you're a yogi, and you never come to the stage of. It's very intentional that we have been put here in this state. We didn't create ourselves.
Hey, look, I'm an insignificant being in this universe, totally insignificant, right? I have absolutely no way of judging whether this universe is flawed or not. Who am I? I'm nothing.
No, me too. I'm not saying, but it's just a thought that it was this
No.
all intentional that for
What
us
I'm
to be
saying
this
is,
way.
no, we cannot. The whole concept is that this creation had to be, for us to experience life, this creation had to be there. And the only way this creation was possible, they say, was to fill us with avidya. They call it avidya, ignorance. If we were not ignorant, this creation would not happen. We'll be liberated right from the day one. So this whole thing is that this avidya, as they call it, or ignorance, that has no beginning. The universe was, when it was created with avidya. But they say, even though it is beginningless, it has no beginning, it is not endless. It's up to us to create an end to this avidya. So we have, the drivers, we are in the driver's seat now. So yes, Niru, you can think of it as flawed, but it is up to us to fix it. Does that make sense?
No, I understand, but it seems very daunting. It's almost like
Hey,
you
who
can
said it's easy?
try.
Who said it's easy? Krishna says it is very, very, very difficult.
No, but it was intentionally made that way so that we are
Yes,
in this Maya where you're always doing your own thing. And otherwise, who would build the roads and who would clean the gutter and who would build software?
good. Good thoughts. Very good.
Thank you.
Very nice. These are things we need to contemplate on and get a better picture. All right. Any other thoughts, comments? Otherwise, we'll do our, today we will not do much pranayama, obviously. We'll just do one. All right. Our final pranayama, alternate nostril breathing. I hope you guys, like these discussions, because this is what we're trying to build our background understanding, and then when we practice meditation we will have a good idea of what's happening in the mind. Otherwise, you won't know what's going on. Okay, so that's why I bring up these discussions. I'm hoping they are helpful. Let's do the alternate breathing. Vishnu mudra with the right hand, chin mudra with the left. 1:2 ratio, our main guideline. I think everyone should be familiar and comfortable. Go ahead. 3-part breathing. Inhale. When you inhale, fill the belly out, expand the chest and the upper part of the chest. When you exhale, soften the chest, suck the belly in. All right. Go on at your own pace. Remember the guideline 1:2 ratio. Keep that in mind. Keep a count in your mind. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, etc. Make the exhalation roughly twice the duration of inhalation. Okay. Let's finish the next round. Take your time. Finish the final exhalation to the left side. Just noticing Nancy was not engaging this practice. You have some nose block or something, Nancy?
Yes.
I,
Yes, I do. I can't breathe through my nose today very well.
I figured that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's stretch the legs out for our Gentle stretch, Paschimottanasana. I like this stretch because it stretches the legs and the spine and everything. Very gentle stretch. Neck straight. Feet together, raise the arms up as you inhale, pull up, exhale, bending forward now. Slow, easy move. And then finally, just make an effort to keep the spine elongated by pulling the chin away when you inhale. And closing the gap with the thighs when you exhale. All this should feel natural and comfortable. No strain or force. And with the next inhalation, raise the arms up now. Exhale, release. Sit comfortable, cross-legged, any position. Eyes closed. This practice called Yoga Mudra. So bring the hands behind the back. Softly hold the right wrist. Keep the eyes closed. And as you exhale, begin to bend forward now. And then wherever you reach, stay there for a moment. Keep breathing. And with the next inhalation, slow, smooth, come back up. Finally, we release the hands and legs and get ready for Yoga Nidra, relaxation. So, lie down on your back. We'll get ready for our sequence to tighten the body, tense up the muscles in the body. So let's come up into the half boat. Change the view here. Look at me. So if the head up, feet up, only if it's comfortable. If not, keep them down, but keep the legs very straight, point the toes away. Stretch the arms straight out in front. Spread the fingers wide and tight. Let's make a fist with the hands, tight fists. Rotate the wrists. One direction first. Pause. Other direction. Pause. Keep the elbows straight. Fists are still tight. We'll work on the facial muscles. So open the mouth, extend the tongue out, curl it down toward the chin. Open the eyes as well. And then try to tense up all the facial and neck muscles. With the fists tight, pull the hands away from you. And squeeze the buttocks tight. Thighs, knees, kneecaps, calf muscles, ankles, point the toes away. This is when we'll engage every single muscle in the body now. So become aware of the whole body, every muscle, and bring it to a real tight squeeze. The whole body, squeeze, tighter. And then let go. Allow the body now to find a comfortable, naturally relaxing posture. Shavasana. Dead body posture. Corpse pose. Make any adjustments to your position so you feel very naturally comfortable. Spread the feet apart. Hands away from the body, palms facing up if it's comfortable. Mentally go through the body, kind of scanning the body mentally from toes to head. And if you perceive any kind of tension or tightness, just making this nice deep mind-body connection. So mind can perceive the tightness and then send in a wave of relaxation. So that will help loosen up any tightness, any fatigue, letting go of that tension. Begin to feel that sense of subtle heaviness of the body on the floor now. So the whole body feels a little heavy on the ground, feels nicely supported by the ground. It's in a state of nice and deep relaxation now. You set the intention now to allow the body to stay in this position, and also use this moment to make a sankalpa. Sankalpa is an affirmation that you want to make about any change in your life, short term or long term. Make that sankalpa, that affirmation, and repeat it 3 times in the mind. And in order to stay deeply relaxed and enjoy this state, we will also set the intention not to pay any attention to thoughts that might come up in the mind. As thoughts come in, they might linger around, but then go away when they are not attended to. And we will continue to enjoy this very beautiful, peaceful states of the body and the mind. Just bring the awareness slowly back to the breathing now and begin to breathe slightly deeper breaths. Just becoming a little more aware of your rhythm of breathing. Slowly begin to stretch the fingers, curl the toes, stretch the hands, feet, arms, legs. And you stretch the arms back overhead. Get a good stretch by pulling the hands back away from you, pointing the toes away from you. Good stretch. And then just roll to one side for a brief moment now. Just come back up to a sitting position. Finding a very nice, comfortable, naturally relaxing posture for our meditation practice. Today we will use a technique we just call breath awareness, and we also add an element of breath counting for this dharana practice. Okay, so it's all about breathing, breath awareness and breath counting. Let's close the eyes. Finding a very nice, comfortable posture. Again, always the guideline is to keep the head, neck, and the trunk in straight line alignment, vertical if comfortable. Make sure there is no strain felt. And if you need to, sit on a cushion or a bolster or chair or whatever feels comfortable. Close the eyes and let's recite Om once now. Deep inhalation. Just become aware of your breath now as you inhale and exhale. For a moment, observe the flow at the tip of the nose. Always feeling that subtle cooling sensation in the nostrils when you inhale, and that warmth of the outgoing breath when you exhale. For a few moments, we are going to start breathing very deep breaths now. So take full, deep ujjayi breaths. And we're going to do the abdominal pattern of breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So you mentally visualize that you're able to bring all the incoming air into the lowest part of the lungs, pushing the diaphragm down and filling the belly out like a balloon. That's at the end of inhalation. When you exhale, do the opposite. Suck the belly all the way back in. Diaphragm will move up. Will eliminate all the air from the lungs. Do this for a few more breaths. Full, deep, diaphragmatic or abdominal breaths. Ujjayi breaths. Very deep. when you're doing the breaths, inhale and exhale, see if you can feel the smoothness or otherwise of the breath. Is the breath very, very smooth? Or can you perceive any kind of variability in your breath now? Keep deep breathing only. Maintain your deep breaths, full 3-part breaths, but become aware of the flow, the smoothness of the flow. Watching every single moment from the very beginning of inhalation to the end of inhalation. At the end of inhalation, pause briefly if you can. Start following the breath out as you exhale. From the beginning of exhalation to the end of exhalation. Become aware of the smoothness of the breath. At the end of the next exhalation, bring the breathing back to your natural rhythm of breathing now. Regular breaths, not long breaths anymore. Again, going back to the awareness at the tip of the nose for a moment. Shift the awareness to the back of the throat. Regular breaths, no change, but just see if you can feel the movement of the breath in and out, how it feels at the back of the throat. The awareness to the entire windpipe or the bronchial cavity. See if you can feel the movement of breath in the windpipe. Inhale and have regular inhalation and exhalation. Shift the awareness to the lungs now. And again, these are regular breaths, so very subtle breathing pattern. Mentally visualize the movement in the lungs. When you inhale, you might feel a little subtle expansion of the lungs. When you exhale, compression of the lungs, contraction. Very subtle. It's a visualization, purely mentally visualizing the movement in the lungs. As a result of this movement of the lungs, there is some subtle movement in the chest and the rib cage. Feel that very gentle expansion and contraction of the chest and the rib cage with each gentle breath. Shift the awareness to the diaphragm and the belly. Remember, The diaphragm that's making all the breathing happen. Feel it's diaphragm is the big muscle between the rib cage and the abdominal area. So just feel the movement in the diaphragm as well as the abdominal area. Lower part of the abdomen, you can perceive any movement there. At this point, gradually shift your awareness back to the tip of the nose, following the flow there for a moment. At this point, we're going to introduce the practice of counting the breaths backwards. What we'll do is we'll count each breath as a combination of one inhalation, one exhalation. Okay, so that will be counted as one breath, inhale and exhale combined. Remember, not changing your breathing rhythm. This is regular breaths. We'll begin the count at 25 and then count the breaths backwards, 24, 23, etc. And when you reach the count of 0, go back to 25 and repeat that whole cycle one more time. Now, what might happen as you try the count, sometimes you may even lose the count. You may forget where you are, might get distracted in some ways. If that happens, go back to 25 and resume the count again. And like I mentioned, what we'll try to do is to do this whole sequence twice. Okay. If you have interruption, go back to 25. Now, at the end of that second round of counting of the breaths, again, I will prefer not to give you any instructions that might distract you. So again, you're done with the second round, go back to your breath awareness at the tip of the nose for a moment, as we always do. Shift your awareness to the third eye location, the Agnya Chakra, spot between the two eyebrows. Imagine that vast expanse of space around the Agnya Chakra. Stay with that awareness for a moment and then finally transition to your mantra meditation. So you do this whole sequence on your own now. 2 rounds of breath counting and then transition to mantra meditation. Once again, bring the awareness back to the tip of the nose, watching the flow for a brief moment. Excuse me. Slowly becoming aware of the body, any physical sensations that you might be feeling in the body. Becoming aware of the surroundings. Join the palms together for our closing Shanti mantra. Inhale. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead me from unreal to the real, darkness to light, and from the fear of death to the knowledge of immortality. Peace, peace, peace. Arms. Okay, cup over the eyes, soft cover, relaxing the eyes. Raise the hands, join the palms again, raise the arms up. And as you exhale, bending forward now. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. With deep respect, I bow down to all my gurus, my teachers. A very special tribute to Sage Patanjali, our guru, who has given us this beautiful practice of yoga. Slowly come back up. And I thank you all very much. Namaste. Have a wonderful rest of the day.